Hey guys, wanted to do a quick planner tour. So here we go. I use a faux Midori, and this is actually a FoxyDori. She's on Etsy, and this is her Wanderlust in brown. Extra, not extra wide, just wide, I guess, with room. It's the Midori wide. So you can see I've got a lot in there. It would easily hold 6 regular Midori inserts. And she lets you choose a charm when you order. These are my 2 favorite pens. I've got this is my first video, so I have no idea what I'm doing. It's the Pentel Slicky, it's called, 025. I use a bullet journal system, and I love the grid. So I like the super fine, so I can write easily in the small squares. And then I also love my Coletto. This is the high-tech Coletto, and it's got 4 in it. And I use the 0.3, which is pretty similar in fineness to the Pentel Slicky. I guess I'm saying that right. Anyway, okay. So as I said, I do a bullet journal system, and that's pretty much all I have in here. I have the zipper pouch, the Midori brand zipper pouch, which doesn't have anything in it right now because I do not love having anything bulky right here as I'm writing. But I just have a few, sticky tabs, etc. I did make this little insert. It's got graph page on one side, year at a glance on the other, and I did include my personal holidays and birthdays in there. I used Publisher to make that, and then I just print it and cut it. And I like these monthly reflection questions. I got these from probably the Bullet Journal Junkie group on Facebook. I get everything from there, all my inspiration. I made this cover here. This is what I use to cover my bullet journal inserts. I made this out of quotes they're all Pride and Prejudice quotes, and I just Mod Podged it onto an old craft folder. And it's actually not attached to my inserts, so I can switch them out at the end of the year. Whenever I have all my inserts, I'm just going to trim it to size and save them all that way. So I got this idea from one of the girls on Bullet Journal Junkies when she makes, well, it's actually probably Midori, one of the Midori forums on Facebook. When she makes her own inserts, she leaves a flap, and I love that because you can just easily leave it on your page and open right up to it. So I also make my own inserts, also on Publisher. I used excuse me, I used a 5x5. This is 5 squares per inch. And I just cut it to size, and then I have a hole puncher that I round the corners. So super simple. These are technically 8.5 tall, which is taller than the standard Midori insert, but I'm not going to trim 1/2 inch off of that, and it works fine in this FoxyDori. So these are actually what I have working right now is 2 separate inserts here. I've got 2 inserts that I'm using, and so you can see it feels like they're inside of my cover here, but they're not actually attached. This FoxyDori came with 4 strings attached, which is what I asked her to do. That's one of her default options. So my plan is, what I do is I keep 2 to 3 inserts for my bullet journal in here at one time, because I don't just want to have 64 or 80 pages of my bullet journal. I want the whole thing. So what I do is, when I'm probably 3 is going to be my limit. And then when I get to the fourth one, I'll retire the first one, which at that point, you know, that information will be old anyway. So on my index, I really do not index very much. I only index spreads and, you know, major thoughts. I don't index monthly stuff. I don't index weekly stuff, daily. I don't put that kind of stuff in my index. I do not want my index cluttered up with stuff like that. So, and as I do new inserts, since I'm making them myself, though if you're numbering them yourself, same thing would work, I continue my new inserts to number them as a continuation of past inserts. So by the end of the year, my inserts are going to be, you know, whatever, 600 starting at. So that way my one index is going to be accurate for the whole year. Okay, so I'll just flip through a little bit here. I always do a calendar month. That's just the way I like to visualize it. And for the current month, I only tab the current month. As you can see, I've got my tab there. And it just really is how my brain works. So the list idea also works great for a lot of bullet journal people. So I just like to, you know, I just like to be able to add in a few fun things, which is not classic bullet journal, but it's what makes it fun for me. And you'll see that I have some spreads that are only a little bit used. I'll probably go back in later and do some doodling or calligraphy or something on these pages, just because I love the feel of used up paper. I love to feel like my favorite thing about the bullet journal is that it's a timeline of my life right now. I love that everything is in it. I talk with my hands. So so wherever I am in life, my journal, my planner, it's all one thing, and it's reflecting that. I love that about it. So, you know, this is just, I was practicing for writing, making a Valentine's card. So just, I'll fill up random things in, that have empty pages with random stuff. So this is one of the additions I make to the bullet journal. You'll see I have this tabbed. This is sort of how I handle future task planning. I just have a running task list. And every week when I do my weekly planning, I check this and see what I need to work on this week. So that way, if I have something in the middle of the day that I think, okay, I need to do this, I don't need to do this today, but I need to get it done, then I can just flip to my running task list and add it there. And when I fill this up, I'm just going to say continued on page, whatever, and go on to the next. I love the next spread idea. Just go to the next empty spread. It is so much more flexible to me than a standard planner. So I love to, you know, I've got my daily stuff. I love to do random journaling, reflection, prayer journal, whatever it is, right in the middle of where I am. So I know I was reflecting on 2014, you know, at the end of 2014. I love that it's stuck there in time. More reflection. Here's a, you know, sometimes another thing I love about the bullet journal, sometimes you only do, you know, you only need that much for a page, for a whole day. You don't need a whole page. And so see, I've got 4 days here on 2 pages. I love, love, love that I've got room to save notes from my kids, ticket stubs, whatever I want, right in time, January 1st. And she forgot that it was 2015. So, and you know, some days you're gonna need, some days I use a whole page for one day. Some days I only need that much. That's the flexibility of bullet journaling for me. I have tried a lot of different weekly setups. I do like to plan my week in advance. It just helps me visualize it. I like that every week I can think, okay, I didn't love that setup. I'm going to try something different. I'm not tied down to what a planner has decided a week should look like for me. So, you know, here's one that I tried and I changed it. I didn't love it. So here's a typical, okay, kids food. This is a typical spread for me. Things that I can include in lunch boxes, for example. Prayer journaling. See, here's one day. You know, some days I use that, some days I use that. Here's Tuesday. I like to highlight, because this is also basically my baby book, I like to highlight anything that's a memory or something funny the kids say, for example, so that in the future when we're flipping back through, we can just glance at those blue highlights and know those are going to be some fun memories. This is more daily pages. This is a text that my son sent me from my mom's phone when he was with her. And so I just printed it out and saved it. And now I've got it and I can remember that little sweet thing he said to me. So another weekly attempt. I also, this was, you know, I'm thinking it through. These are Erin Condren stickers. They're actually printable stickers that I got from the Gifted Pepper on Etsy. And I scale them at 73% and print them. And they fit perfectly in my month boxes. So I was testing a few different ideas there. Another note from a kid. Gave the Chronodex a try. I don't understand it. I know lots of people love it. So, okay, I'll randomly do some watercolor. One thing I like about making my own inserts is that my paper is a lot higher quality than a standard. And so I get very little ghosting, no bleeding, basically, with these two pens that I love. Highlighters can sometimes bleed a little bit. Okay, another week attempt that I tried. I do like this one, but it just wasn't quite enough room on one page. So, okay, I'm going to kind of flip faster. It's all basically the same ideas. Doodling. See, look, there's another kid highlight. I know not everyone is a mom. This was my birthday weekend, but you'll have your own things to highlight. That's what I like to highlight. This was my birthday weekend, and so I just saved all these little note from my husband, cards from my kids, notes from my kids, all this stuff for my birthday. I love that it's in there. Another week attempt, as in weekly, not week. Okay, so that's basically the idea of my bullet journal system. Currently, I try different things with my days. I do, in general, I do different versions of this, but in general, I like to do the weather. This is how I track my water. And some little doodle, 1 cup of coffee that day. That could be a problem. So, Valentine's card. And okay, so right now, this is this week. This is my weekly spread. And I really like this. I like having the date, the times. I have my daily running, my lists that I do, my daily lists, but I like being able to jot down a schedule on the week spread if I want. And down here at the bottom, I've got my menu. I made these stickers, actually. They're Avery, I think they're 0.75, and the page itself is a 4x6 page. And so I really like that I can make. I made these. I can put anything I want on a publisher template and make my own stickers. So that is my bullet journal. So for the year, I am on page 97. And we're halfway through the month, second month. So I definitely will be using lots of inserts. Another good reason to make my own. Very inexpensive. So, all right, so that's my bullet journal. Then really, I don't have much else in here. I do have a card slot, gift card. I did make this little craft folder. I just made it up. I did not follow a tutorial, didn't make a tutorial. I just took an old hanging file folder and created this, folded the pockets, cut that. And I just keep a few stickers, some stamps. This is one of my favorite. My son heard me mention that I liked Andrew Luck, and he gave me his football card of that. So I like seeing that. It reminds me of my sweet boy. So I do have this on the back here. This is the Midori brand pocket. I made this little pencil board. It's just laminated. I put a little ruler on there. So I keep that back there. And this is just, I like having scratch paper that I can rip stuff out. This is just a super, super cheap the small legal pad that I just trimmed down with my paper cutter. Just my basic little slicer. I just kept slicing through until I made it all the way through. That's also how I cut my inserts. So I just can slip that in there, and then perfect little jot pad. So that is my planner, and I'll be happy to answer any more specific questions that anyone has about any parts of it. So can't wait to see all your planners.